Afternoon, Richard.
Good afternoon, Jeff.
Yeah, just go through some of the key sort of moments about this fixture list. What are the main details of improvement, if you like, for next year?
Well, I think this is a really significant announcement for the sport today, and it obviously follows on from the levy replacement earlier in the year. Since then, we've been working with our colleagues at the RCA, the Racecourse Association, and the Horsemen's Group to ensure that this fixtures, and it is a funding package as well that we've announced today, is very much aligned with our sport's aims to grow racing and also betting on racing. And I think it's important to say there are three main objectives that we set out to achieve. Firstly, to provide a major boost to those operating at the grassroots level of the sport so that we can grow the number of owners and horses in training. Secondly, we want to deliver a more competitive racing product for fans of the sport. We know last year that 36% of our races didn't have at least 8 runners, and we need to get that number down. And thirdly, to structure a fixture list in a way that meets the requirements of all of our customers. And we know that now over 50% of the amounts bet on racing is via digital betting platforms rather than people going into betting shops. And with the new levy legislation in place, we have to shape our fixture list to support further growth in this area. So basically, all of the measures that we've introduced or that we've announced today feed back to those overarching objectives.
I think it's important as well to sort of boost some of the racing that's lower down the food chain, if you like, lower down the scale. And I see that you've got qualifying races offering payments of at least £300 now for horses finished between 5th and 8th place, and there's extra race incentive prize money as well for those races a bit lower down the scale, and you're going to have this minimum value hopefully of £6,000 as well for a lot of races.
Yeah, that's the aim. So as you know, as you'll know and your viewers will know, the prize money in this country has basically increased a bit through the last few years, but at that lower end, lower and middle end, it's seen very little of the increase. Races run for £3,500 this year were run at that level 10 years ago. So we've had to do something to target that. And what we've talked about today is, as well as the introduction of some additional prize money funding, to introduce this significant appearance money scheme. It's the largest appearance money scheme that British racing will have ever seen, £6.5 million a year. It focuses on the middle and lower tiers of the programme and will ensure that the horses that finish in the first 8 in the eligible races will receive at least £300 on the flats, £350 over jumps. And I think it's also worth mentioning that this payment will be increased by £100 for runners on Sundays and Fridays and Saturday evenings, when obviously there are increased costs with having runners at the racecourse. Yeah,
that's key. I think that could definitely help some of the owners, as you say, lower down the scale. In terms of the numbers of fixtures, just going through some of the points there, an increase in the all-weather meetings, an increase of 15 with more all-weather racing. Also more evening meetings, up 30, I believe, to 412. So an increase in those evening fixtures and also all-weather meetings.
Yes, well, on the all-weather, the growth in the fixture list this year is 11 fixtures, and basically those fixtures have gone into twilight sessions in September and October, so inevitably they're going to be on the all-weather because they're under floodlights. We know that a third of our eliminations from races occur in 9 weeks of the year, September and October, and basically we felt that with the horse population beginning to grow again, then we can obviously have a small amount of growth in there. An extra 11 fixtures we think can withstand that increase.
Okay. But I think generally in terms of, it does appear to be good news going through some of the other things. I mean, afternoon fixtures as well. We've got to just look at the total numbers there. Is it 1096 afternoon meetings as well?
Yeah, there's been, again, a further shift towards the evenings from the afternoon. I think it's important to understand that as the betting markets change and we see this move towards digital betting platforms from the betting shops, with that, we know that more people who bet digitally amounts are higher in the evenings, perhaps in the betting shops where betting tends to peak earlier in the afternoons. Okay. Now, betting shops remain remarkably and obviously very important to us, but we do need to for our fixture list to evolve to recognise that shift in the betting markets, and that's the sort of changes that we're talking about today.
And finally, a week break for the National Hunt Racing as well after the big day at Sandown.
Yeah, really important that we try to do more to support our staff, and certainly this is an area that every year we would like to have made some progress in. I'm glad that we have made further progress. So now we have this week break at the end of the season. I think the National Hunt Fraternity will welcome that, but this is an area where there is more to be done, and that's going to be a focus in future years.
Okay. Richard, I think we'll leave it there. Many thanks for all the information there, and thanks for talking to us.